At ONWAA, we meet new friends.
I'm Daryl Jocks. I'm the Ontario Works manager for Mississauga First Nation. I've been with the program for 2.5 years now. When I did get back, I only heard about ONWAA and we rejoined the program. We'd been away from ONWAA for a couple of years, our community had been. We re-signed up and I had a very pleasant surprise when I came to my first assembly. And I learned a lot. And every assembly since I've learned a tremendous amount. Keynote speaker today, for instance, Mr. Kathleen, I found him to be inspiring. And I think that I bought both of his books instantly, and I believe that from it we can gain maybe some insight into how we can become self-sufficient and not have to depend on welfare. With all the cuts that are happening, I'm hoping in 10 years from now that ONWAA is not a memory, that ONWAA is still fighting for the rights and still making things good. I believe that I would like to see us gain in solidarity, gain strength, and move forward. The help that I've received from others is I've met Mike Nettle, who's the executive director, and he's awesome. He's really helped me a lot. Anytime I have a problem during the day, I pick up the phone, I give him a call, and we talk about the problem, and he shares his insight and his experience, and that's been really, really good for both myself and my community and my coworkers. Thank you.
At ONWAA, we strengthened our knowledge of Ontario Works.
Hi, my name is Sheraton Centre. I am Delaware from Raven of the Thumbs, but currently I'm working with Modernization of the Thumbs. Some of my ONWAA moments, I guess, would be actually the administrator training. I believe that that is major, that all caseworkers, administrators, EAs, everybody goes through that program. There's so much to learn, everything to be discovered, and there's a little bit of noise back there, but that's okay. And that would be one of the main things that I would recommend or hope that continues, that I believe that's major training that helps everyone. Probably most enjoyable moments, I would have to say Jody Wadlove, president of ONWAA. He's always funny, he's always a comedian, but he always knows how to get to the heart of the topics and keep everyone laughing, crying at the same time, and just overall entertaining. Once again, all the support staff from ONWAA, my heart goes out to them to thank them for everything that they've done. ONWAA is a major supporter for everyone that works with Ontario Works, and I can't even put into words on how much that they've done for me over the last 5 years that I've been working with Ontario Works.
At ONWAA, we network with other First Nations.
At ONWAA, we are dedicated to culturally appropriate training.
I don't know. That would be nice.
Mm-hmm. If you can give ONWAA membership any advice, what would you say?
I guess to always support the organization. I know certainly for me, when I was a welfare administrator, when I first started, I was trained by the ministry in a sense, and I always say I now know how not to train. I know I used to say that, and perhaps I didn't say that loudly, but that was my one experience in terms of I now understand how I shouldn't train, which isn't really a slight, but really an indication in terms of First Nations teaching First Nations. I always found very key, as well, rather than coming from a different dynamic and trying to understand or teach into First Nations culture, First Nations communities. There was already that base, and I certainly saw that when the ministry did come to train. It was very policy oriented, and it had to be this way, it had to be that way, and you couldn't deviate, you couldn't know everything was black and white, when of course there's a lot of gray based on that specific scenario, that specific instance of who that person is that's right in front of us, rather than just being a number. And so certainly That's one of the things I recall and I remember, and trying not to parlay that in terms of the training that we provide, in terms of to the constituents or to the members of ONWAA. So certainly to support the organization and to know that that organization really is there for them. You know, more than anything, it's there for them. And when we came to understand that we made sure that we always tried to attend the assemblies, whatever it might be, no matter what the cost was. We always tried to attend.
Kathleen Taylor of Curved Lake First Nation founded the Ontario Native Welfare Administrators Association, ONWAA, in 1972.
Susie Taylor, Indigenous Cause, Nishnabek Kwendal, Curved Lake and Donchpa. My name is Susie Taylor and I'm from Curved Lake. I've been lucky, I consider myself lucky and privileged to have had Kate Taylor as my mother, because she was a hard-working woman. She never sat still very long. She was, she was always on the go. She loved ONWAA, that was her life, and she especially loved the Northern First Nations. She was really always had her heart out for that.
ONWAA originated through First Nations Social Services Administrators meeting to discuss common practices in the delivery of social assistance in Ontario.
My name is David Henry, and I've been affiliated with the Ontario Native Welfare Administrators Association since probably 1972, when it was first started. I remember going to ONWAA and listening to Kay Taylor speak. One of the biggest controversies that I first was involved with was that allowance for guide dog allowance, and the ministry wasn't going to provide that. So we got that changed. Then I knew that Kay Taylor was a woman who was going to get things done. So I figured, well, I'm going to stay. And Kay Taylor was a person who developed ONWAA. There was Kay Taylor, I think there was Evelyn Saratan, Hilda Williams, and another lady. They got together and said that we need to have our own organization. So that's how I got involved, and I was a board member for 14 years, and I was, when Kay was getting weaker, she asked me to fill in for her as the president. So I did. I obliged that. That's when we had our training center in Brantford, Six Nations. So I did that for 4 years, and basically I took over after Kay left, and it was a real honor, privilege for me to do that. And I helped a lot of administrators in getting a little bit higher salary than they were getting at the time. So with that, it continues to grow, and I started my career as a part-time administrator in 1968, and I've worked for my First Nation now for 45 years. So plan on working another 5 more, and that'll be 50. So I hope I can hang in there. Good luck to everyone. Thank you.
This process continued until ONWAA organized and became an incorporated entity in the province of Ontario in 1989.
Our head office was in Curved Lake until the early 1990s when it was moved to Six Nations. And then we got core funding in the ministry. We were able to have a training unit. And we had quite a few employees at one point. And then my mom passed away. Kate passed away in 1999 in January. And by June, core funding was pulled. We had no funds at all to work with, and the office in Six Nations closed down. Patrick Kent had been a trainer. Patrick Kent lives here in Sioux, but he had been a trainer for ONWAA, and he saved ONWAA, basically. He went down to Six Nations and got all our equipment and all the material resources and kept them here in the Sioux. And he worked for nothing for several months, until we were able to get money from Indian Affairs actually to keep going. And I don't know if very many people know, but I give total credit to Patrick and for saving our organization when the funding was pulled. And I think he should really be recognized for that.
Currently, ONWAA is a professional association that represents 105 First Nation social service administrators in Ontario. The association is governed by 9 board of directors and 1 president. The association's head office is in Garden River First Nation, and in 2008, ONWAA opened a northern office in Wabigoon Lake First Nation.
At ONWAA, we earned a university accredited certificate. At ONWAA, we became family.
This is ONWAA. Your ONWAA.